God said, don't eat from this tree because you'll gain knowledge of good and evil. And they said,
why would that be bad?
Exactly. You have to know the difference between good and evil.
I know you were going to say
So
that. You
they
love
ate
that stuff.
Yeah, so
Go
they
ahead.
ate from the tree so that they would know.
But God said not to.
But God said there's good and evil.
Only if you eat from it are you even going to know about it.
Which means you're going to get there.
Not if you
Not
didn't
that
eat
there is
from it.
none.
You could have listened to God. You'd be still just old fine.
Listen.
1 second. Do you agree that if they wouldn't have eaten from it, everything would still be fine? They'd be still
Yes.
having a great time?
Yes.
Okay,
And they'd
so
be
what's
stupid.
Whoa, hold it.
They wouldn't know the difference between good and evil.
They didn't need to. It was all perfect.
It's not that if you
Was
eat,
there good and evil before that? Was there
Sure.
Oh, okay. So did Adam and Chava, would they have stolen? Would they didn't know about good and evil. They, according to you, they would have just been willy-nilly stealing and doing adultery and all these things. They didn't know it was good or evil. There was no good and bad. Remember?
So why did God introduce good and bad? Just to fool us?
This is your construct. You can tell me all you want.
You're telling the story, right?
I'm
if
telling
you
the
eat,
irony. I'm saying the delicious irony in the story.
yeah, that if you eat from it, you will get the good and the evil.
Exactly.
Not you'll imagine.
It's saying exactly what I'm saying. If you would stop believing that there was an idea of good and evil, which is where you would be prior to eating from the knowledge of it, you wouldn't have good or bad.
And
yet
that would be...
when I told you that, you hate that idea. You can't stand it. You're like, oh my God, there's adultery and they're stealing. You're losing your mind about it. But meanwhile, God was totally fine with it. If those guys would have listened to him and not known from it, was all good with him. But all of a sudden, you're
Right, so
so mad about
You're
it.
not listening to my version.
Okay, go
My
ahead.
version.
No, but
is-
you agree with that, right?
No, my version is he wanted them to eat from it.
So he told them not to. So he wanted, again, really good communication skills. This God, he's fantastic. Maybe he told you wanted you to do the Torah, but he really wants you to do the opposite. You ever think of that? You need to get out there and start doing some Averas. It's probably the same story.
So why don't you appreciate the story as Adam and Eve being very smart to eat from it?
This is what you said. You said God told them not to do it.
And they were very smart to do it.
And they did not listen to God. They did what they wanted to do, which was the good thing. Okay, well then, hey, Torah.
Wait.
Whoa. Torah is what God wants you to do. Stop listening already.
Hang on a
Get
second.
smart.
Hang on a
You're so dumb. You're like Adam and Chava. Wake up.
Hang on a second. Doesn't it make sense? It's a tree of knowledge. Why would they not want it? It's not a tree of stupidity.
I have no position in the game. I'm going down your road. You said God told him not to do it. Everything else was fine. Just don't do this. Everything else was fine.
Okay, so what you're not supposed to do is just as real. It's not if you eat from the tree, you'll imagine things are right and wrong.
I don't understand why you're doing the Torah. You should be doing the opposite.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
The story of Adam and Eve, was it not a smart thing for them to eat from it? So that they could know good and evil?
Maybe it was bad to know good and evil. I think it's bad to know good and evil. I think I don't really think it's bad. I think it's less, quote unquote, enlightened. Again, not a good thing, just less aware of the truth.
And the truth is that there is no good and evil.
Well, that's for sure true. It's Gan Eden, right? It's perfection, right?
Yeah, in Gan Eden, there's no good and evil.
Exactly.
But there is good and evil. And Adam said, we want to know that.
There wouldn't have been any good and evil.
No.
If they were they able to not eat from the tree?
Yeah.
Okay, so then no one would have known about it.
That's terrible.
No, you're making that story up. God told them not to do it.
But
You're
listen,
telling God he's wrong?
No, but you're saying that there is no good and evil, and God said not to eat from the tree because then you'll imagine that there's good and evil.
No, you're saying it.
No, that's your version.
No, you're saying that they did something smart to eat from the tree of good and evil, even though God told them not to.
Because
no, you told me before what God wants you to do is the good thing.
One thing at a time.
But you're contradicting yourself very heavily here.
Yes, but all I'm trying to make up the point is, if you eat from it, you will know good and evil, not you'll imagine. Because there is good and evil.
In your story, yes.
Yeah.
They would have flipped into the construct of good and evil. But they could have just as easily stayed in the non-construct of non-good and evil.
Which would have been non-productive.
Oh, boy, nice judgment. You have no idea what that would have been like. I'm sure it was fantastic in Gan Eden, and they were doing just great, and you don't know what was going on over there, whether it was productive or not productive. So that's a total ridiculous non sequitur. We're not going down that road. For sure you don't believe what you just said. You have no idea of whether it was productive or non-productive, or even if productive was a good thing, because again, it comes with bad and evil. It's kind of word that's a real good judgment word. Remember, there was none of that nonsense in Gan Eden. So please, don't go down that road. Be consistent, okay? You know that there was no good and bad, and you have no idea what that would have been like. Obviously, it was good enough for a certain time, right?
One day.
Oh, what's one day? What is that? What is that? What's a day? A spin of a rock? What does that even mean? A day? Time? What's time? I mean, you can really understand. I mean, that's silly talk. One day is just as long as 100 million years. It doesn't matter. It's just a set of time. It's an arbitrary time frame. And it was perfect for that one day. Yes. Okay. So what do you have such a big problem with it? Maybe it should have been 2 days. It would have been better off. Maybe not. I don't know how it went. But you certainly don't know it was bad because after one day they went down the other road. It could have been great if they stayed there for 10 days. You don't know. And the way I read it, it sounds like it was perfection. So they probably wanted to stay a little longer than one day if they could have done it, right? They needed a whole snake to get involved, and there was all these, situations and everything. It wasn't so simple. It seemed like they were just, their creator told them, this is the only thing, just don't do this one thing. It sounds like they would be pretty productive being in that deal. I don't know why you're so against that, and they're such chachams that they wanted to eat. No? I don't think you even believe that. That last thing you said about them not being productive, I don't think you believe that at all.
Sure I do.
No, you don't. Because God told them not to do it. That's your whole thing, is what God wants. What happened to that? Boy, you're really backsliding fast here.
It's the paradox.
Oh! Beautiful. Now that was beautiful. I think what we've really come to on this is people who are wise are the people that don't listen to God. That's what you said. So I think you think that the Torah is what God wants you to do. So you need to stop with this Torah thing right away, and then you'll get wise. That's what you said on the Chabad.
Yeah, I know, but you're not getting the whole story.
Well, what else am I missing about it?
Okay, so let me tell you. It's been an amazing, as you say, been an amazing, awesome history of the struggle of good and evil, of right and wrong, good people, bad people. All of that was a mistake because they ate from a tree. I don't think so. All of history should not have turned out this way. All of history should not have turned out this way, and it did because one guy ate from a tree.
I think it's all perfect. You're the one who's saying it's bad.
I think it's ridiculous. So instead of thinking of that one day of perfection, I'm looking at history and I say, no, this is much more important.
What's much more important? What's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. So God was wrong
in
to
other
tell
words,
him not to do it.
In other words, the world outside of Gan Eden is much more important.
Okay. So God was wrong to tell him not to do it.
And it's painful. And there's a lot of suffering. But this is what really needs to happen.
Okay.
Just like
so God was wrong.
Just like the Holocaust. It's very painful, but for some reason it needed to happen.
I'm with you 100% on that.
So here's what happened in Gan Eden. This is my version of the story. God said a very strange thing. Don't eat from this tree, for the day you eat from it, you'll die. And to Adam and Chava, that was a mixed message. The day you eat from it, you just said don't eat from it. So they were a little puzzled by that. They were also puzzled by something even more important. Why are they here? Why were they created? They felt like they're supposed to do something, contribute some way. So God says, no, everything's perfect, just that tree, don't touch it. They said, so what are we doing here? What's our job? And Chava was the one who realized, we're not in the world that we're intended to be in, and that's why we have no job here. God is giving us a choice. Don't eat from the tree and live, or on some day you'll eat from it and you'll die. So you realize what's going on here? We're not in the world that God needs us to fix. That world is the world of mortality. So actually God wants us to eat from the tree and die, but it should be our choice, not him putting us there automatically. And when she convinced Adam that that was the case, they both ate. So two things. First of all, God said two things, not just one thing. He didn't say, don't eat it, period. He said, the day you eat from it, you'll die. And to them, death was no big deal. So, fine. It wasn't a punishment.
Okay.
Secondly, they had no
But he
Yetzer.
told him don't.
They had no Yetzer Hara. So what motivated them was pure goodness, because that's all there was. Their motivation was, God wants us to volunteer for this nasty job of fixing a really messed up world.
Was listening to God a good thing or a bad thing?
Very good thing.
Okay, well, he's the one who said don't eat from it.
He also said, eat from it and die.
Okay, but he also said don't eat from that. Right?
Yep.
So they violated that one.
They kept the other one. God was giving them a choice.
No, he didn't say to go eat it and you can go down this road of creating this world that you need to be in. He said, don't eat from it. The day you eat from it, you're going to die. He didn't say, or, I don't care, either eat from it or don't eat from it. But if you eat from it, you're going to die. He didn't say it like that, according to you. According to you, that would be a choice. That would be, okay, here's a tree. I don't care. You want to eat from it? Fine. You don't want to eat from it? Also fine. But if you do eat from it, you're going to die. So they got in their thing that, maybe we're supposed to go do this and that. That would be, your thing would be more plausible if that was the story. But that wasn't the story. There was only really one commandment. That was, don't eat from it. Now, he happened to be informing you of another thing, which is, by the way, if you do, you're going to die. But there was no, don't eat from it and yes, eat from it. No, there was only one command there. And that was, don't eat from it. And you already said, that's wrong, not listening to God. So you're contradicting yourself.
He didn't say if. He didn't say don't eat from it, because if you do. He said the day you eat from it, you will die. Now to us, that sounds like a threat. But to them, death was not a threat. So
Fine.
God was saying there are two possibilities.
Right. There's one possibility is don't eat from it. Or if it was totally equal, I would say either don't eat from it or eat from it. And by the way, you're going to die. No biggie.
No, and you're going to die because that's the purpose.
Fine.
That's how they heard it.
Do whatever you want.
That's how they heard it.
He should have said, do whatever you want. Either don't eat from it and you're staying here, or eating from it and you're going to this
That's
other place.
exactly what he said.
But that's not what he said. He said, don't eat from it. That's different. That's totally different. If you can't say that it was a choice as soon as you say the word don't eat from it. That was part of the story, okay? That's not giving somebody a choice. Giving somebody a choice is either don't eat from it or eat from it. Whatever. No biggie. It's
That's
okay.
exactly what he said.
No, he
don't
didn't
eat
say-
from it or die.
No. Don't eat from it is a command. It's not don't eat from it and you stay here, eat from it and you die. That's not what he was saying.
That is what he was saying, and that's
No.
how they understood it.
But that's not that. Now you're changing the whole meaning of the story.
That's my job.
I know you love making up stories, but at least use the language. Don't just totally change the words. You're
I'm not
changing the
changing.
whole words.
I'm not.
If it was a real option, it would be you could either don't eat from it, and this is going to happen, or eat from it, and that's going to happen.
That's exactly what he said.
No.
He said, don't eat from it or eat from it and die. See, again, he didn't say if you do. He
Don't
said,
eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The day you do eat from it, you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then,
So if-
then it should have been said, don't eat from it, X is going to happen. The day you eat from it, Y is going to happen. If that was really the case, it would be more. There would be both sides of that, right? It wasn't like that. It wasn't. Don't eat from it. X is going to happen. Eat from it. Y is going to happen. It was no, just don't eat from it. Period. There was nothing about what's going to happen on that side.
actually, you can argue the opposite. He was emphasizing the eating. Eat from it and die. Because that's what needs to happen.
Okay, so God
If you don't eat from it,
you're not supposed to be in God.
Nothing's gonna
It
happen.
wasn't a great.
it was
place.
only a step towards this world.
Okay, so this bad stuff that happened is a fantastic thing in God's eyes. Okay, whoa, you're going down a real slippery slope now. Your whole story before was about how all this bad stuff happens all the time, and there's horrible stuff. Meanwhile, he wants that.
Of course he does.
Okay, so what are you again? You're so upset. You're so thankful you're not a murderer. Cut it out. Be thankful you're a murderer, okay? Start being thankful. You even like it.
You're the one who said, thank God I'm not a child molester.
I know.
You're not
I
getting
did.
off the hook.
I know I did. But what I'm saying is it's wrong. According to what you're saying right now, yes, it is wrong.
No, so let me finish the story. The reason God wants Adam and Chava in this world is because in this world there's a job to do. And that is strengthen the good and get rid of the evil. The evil that he created, that is necessary for this job. But the objective is make the ugly world...
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, finally, and I don't know. I was waiting a long time for an I don't know. You don't know. Okay. I could totally get behind I don't know. I think it's fantastic that you said it even. You don't know. You don't know why.
No. But I know what.
Great.
I know what the plan is. I don't know why.